If you finally decide to switch from your crappy broker to a better one, congratulations. I made the switch from Robinhood about 1 year ago to TD Ameritrade so I could use their ThinkOrSwim trading platform, and I thought it might be helpful to cover some things that I've learned with the platform to help you get off on the right track. I did my first live stream on this channel back on Monday where I was going over my positions and answering questions and just talking about the stock market in general. And one question that came up over and over again was asking what platform I was using. Platform name, ThinkOrSwim. So I thought it might be helpful to go over ThinkOrSwim since it can be daunting when you first launch it. A lot of people like using ThinkOrSwim for charting and trading, especially with options, and while it's definitely better than something like Robinhood, it's certainly not perfect. First, it's open mainly to US citizens. There may be some exceptions, but if you live in other countries, you probably need to find another broker. I know some people in other countries use interactive brokers, so that may be something worth looking into. Other downsides of ThinkOrSwim are sometimes it can be laggy and sometimes you won't get the best order fills, but in my experience, it's generally been a pretty good place to trade. I have noticed that my order fills have been slower for the past couple of weeks, so I actually did open an account for day trading with interactive brokers to try that out, but I still have most of my capital here in ThinkOrSwim. I'm going to assume that you've already opened an account with TD Ameritrade, so let's start by downloading and installing the desktop version of ThinkOrSwim since that is the full-featured version that you'll want to use for most of your trading. Once it's installed and you launch the app, go ahead and log in. If you want a paper trade, you can flip the switch to log into a demo account. Then you have to agree to their terms and conditions, and then you're finally in. I'm going to flip the privacy mode on by clicking the arrow right by option buying power to hide my wife's account info. So this is the default homepage, and honestly, I never look at it. But one thing to note is at the top, you want to make sure that it says real-time data, not delayed. If it says delayed, you need to log into their website and turn on real-time data. Okay, so the top left box has all of your account info. Below that, we have gadgets. These are just widgets that allow you to customize your layout. You can choose from a variety of things like adding a chart, a notepad, or even Minesweeper if it's a slow market day. I like to leave it as live news. Below that is Trader TV, which allows you to watch their network or CNBC. And below that is a watch list of stocks, so at a glance you can see what's going on with some of your favorite tickers. And below that is a quick chart, which allows you to type in a ticker and pull up a chart quickly. One thing I want to point out here is the yellow number 2s on these gadgets. This is their linking system, which will link different gadgets and windows together. So for instance, the watch list and quick chart are both linked by the yellow 2. So if I click on a ticker on my watch list, it will automatically load up on the chart. We can then link news to these as well. Now our news gadget is only showing news for whichever ticker is currently active with our yellow 2 link. So if I switch to Tesla on my watch list, the chart and news now switch to Tesla as well. So now let's move on to the monitor tab. The activity and positions will show you your current positions you have open that day and positions you are still currently holding. The other tab I'll look at here is my account statement. This gives you a rundown of all trades you made and you can look back at your trading history over time. This is a pretty new account, so not much to show here. So let's head back to the activity and positions tab. You can flip open your working orders and filled and canceled orders you've had that day, if you've had any. We can flip open an open position to see more details about it. Here, among other positions, we can see that we have 10 call contracts on AT&T. The trade price column shows what you paid for them, and the mark shows you where the price is currently for that contract or equity. PL open shows you your current profit and loss for your open trades. PL day shows you your profit and loss for the day. If you want to close a position, one of the ways you can do so is by right-clicking your position and going to Create Closing Order, and then Sell. This will take you to the Trade tab, and at the bottom, we have our order entry. This is a pretty standard order entry box, but we can see we're selling a quantity of 10, and the symbol is T for AT&T, and then we have the details of the contract. They automatically fill in the price with the going rate, but if we want to try and sell for a higher price, we can adjust that here. The order type is set to limit, but we can adjust it if we want. Day means if the order doesn't fill by the end of market close, it'll automatically cancel it. We can change that to GTC or good till canceled, which will keep the order open until it fills or until we cancel it. Then we can click confirm and send, which will pull up a box just ensuring that the details are correct. We can see our max profit of $320. We can see that for max loss it says infinite, which can kind of freak you out when you're new to this. But really, if you own the contract and you're selling it to close, You don't have to worry about it saying infinite. Then we can just click send. It'll notify us in the top left of our screen when the order fills. Another thing to note with our trade tab is the red 1 at the top. This can also be linked with the other windows and gadgets, so if we change this to the yellow 2 link with our left-hand column of gadgets, we can see it's now loaded up the option chain for Tesla. We can flip open March 19th to take a look at the different contracts. By default, it's just showing us 4 strike prices, which for a stock like Tesla is not a lot. So we can change this to show more or all of the strikes available. The left-hand side are calls and the right-hand side are puts. The strike and date are in the middle. To buy a call or a put, select your strike and then click on the ask. This loads up our order entry box at the bottom. Now we can select the quantity of contracts and then we can just adjust the price. We can see in our columns there's about a 15-cent difference between the bid and the ask, which is not bad at all. If we want to try and get an order filled closer to the middle of the bid and the ask, we can drag this slider down to mid or just type in the price manually. Once we're happy with everything, we can click confirm and send. And lastly, I want to mention the implied volatility on options chains. We can see Tesla March 19th has 74.31% implied volatility, and the number in the parenthetical shows that the options are pricing a move of plus or minus $28. We can see implied volatility and the expected move changes the farther out in time we go with the contracts. You can also see what options contracts are being bought and sold by opening up the Options Time and Sales tab. You can also look at statistics for the option as well. Then you have a few other tabs in the trade panel like Forex, Futures, and Active. Before we get too far along, I'm going to switch from my wife's account to my account so I can show you my setup. Let's skip over to the Charts tab. Here's where I spend most of my time. Again, here we can link our chart with our left-hand column and our trade tab. The top right will allow you to customize your chart, add indicators, and a whole lot of other stuff. Let's say you want to add a study, like an exponential moving average. Go to Studies, Edit Studies. Here we have all the studies built into the platform. I'm just going to start by typing MOVAVG and double-click on Moving Average Exponential. This adds it to the chart in the price section, so the study will show up in the same spot as our candlesticks, which is exactly what we want. We can click Apply to see it take effect. But what if we want a 50 EMA and not the default 9, and we want it to be yellow and not cyan? Well, let's just click the gear and under Length, change 9 to 50. Then you can change the color to yellow and hit OK. Then we can hit Apply to see it update the chart. Now if we want the 50 EMA and the 9, I can just add another EMA study by double-clicking it, and this time I'll leave it at the default values, and clicking Apply, we can see it update. Feel free to add whatever studies or indicators you'd like. I usually like to add VWAP, so let's type that in. Change the color, and hit Apply. By default though, VWAP also shows us 2 standard deviations up and down for a total of 3 lines on the chart. And that makes it a little too messy for me, so I'll just edit the study, and for the upper band and lower band, I'll deselect Show Plot. Once we have the studies set up how we want it, we can save this as a template. Just go to Studies, Save Study. To the left of Studies, we have our Drawings menu. Instead of using this menu though, I prefer clicking my scroll wheel in to quickly access the drawing tools. The one I use the most is the Priceline tool. You can right click on your drawing to change the properties like the color or add a text label to it. And then when the drawing is no longer useful to you, you can right click and choose Remove Drawing. In the Style menu, you can change the type of candlesticks and other aspects of your chart's appearance. Perhaps the most useful thing here is being able to save your chart setup, including the time frame and your studies. So if this is the setup I like for swing trading, I could save this as my swing trading setup and click the box to include patterns and study set. To the left of Style is the time frame of the chart. You can flip between different time frames to get a better idea of the price history and notable levels. You can also add a custom time frame if you need to. Just click Customize List and then Add Time Frame. Next on our chart is quick access to our chart's settings with the gear icon. You can adjust settings like snapping your drawing tools to ticks on the chart, Or over in the time axis, I like to add room on the right of my chart by increasing the expansion area to 50. We then have the time frames, which we just looked at, appearance of our candles, and then in equities, you can choose to turn on or off extended hours trading sessions. That's about all I adjust here. Now on the right, we have these buttons to activate different features. If you quickly want to place a trade, you can click the trade button. Here you have a simple order entry to buy shares. If you have the auto send box checked, it will skip the confirmation screen and just go straight to filling your order. Just click the trade button to close it. Times and sales shows you real-time orders coming through and the volume of the order. The Active Trader tab is great for day trading. Not only can you quickly change the order quantity, but you can also set up bracket orders, which will set your limit sell and stop loss for you based off when you want to take profit or cut losses. Here's a template I made. If you just want a limit order to take profit and no stop loss, you can deselect the stop loss box. You can place the order by pressing the buy or sell market buttons or by clicking on the bid size to buy or ask size to sell on the price ladder. The last notable button here is level 2. This pulls up level 2 data showing limit orders. Buy orders are on the left and sells are on the right. BS is the bid size or the size of the buy order. AS is the ask size or the size of the sell order. Just multiply the number you see by 100 since each number represents 100 shares. So here is a buy order of 100 shares at $202.70. And here is a sell order of 300 shares at $206. So those are the buttons on the right side of your chart. Then above the patterns menu is your grid layout. If you want your main chart view to have 4 charts instead of 1, you can do that. Above that, you have your overall application settings for ThinkOrSwim. You can adjust things like the color scheme, notifications, and order defaults. For example, my order default for an options order is 2, so when I go to place a trade, the quantity is automatically set to 2 since I often buy 2 contracts at a time. So that's a pretty broad overview. There's still way more to this application, but I don't want to overwhelm you too much. Instead, just focus on the things that you'll likely use most. There are other things like the market visualizer, so you can flip through different indices and see, well, it looks like the financial sector is the only thing having a good day in the market today. And there's also a scanner tab if you want to set up a scanner to find stocks that meet certain criteria. One other thing I often do is set alerts for key levels of a stock. So if I want to take a closer look at buying GameStop when it comes down to $172, I can right click and set an alert to notify me when GameStop drops below $175 so I can be paying attention when it comes to that level. Okay, now that you have an idea of how to get around, let me show you how I have things set up. If you have multiple monitors or just want to have different tabs open at once instead of flipping to your trade tab and then your monitor tab and then back to your charts, you can simply detach any window which will duplicate it and allow you to customize things. So this setup I actually learned about from another YouTuber named Vincent Desiano, so shout out to him and his channel for the good idea. Basically, I take my trade tab and detach it. Then I can resize it and move it over. I turn on Active Trader and turn off my chart. Then I detach the chart tab. Then I'll click the gear button to the right of my buy and sell buttons. I'm gonna add buy ask and remove buy market and sell market. Then I'll add sell bid. Then I'll just resize it and move it to the top right. Now I'll just link the trade window to yellow 2, but make the active trader window link to blue 3. If I want to quickly buy or sell an options position, I just load up the contract by right-clicking it, choose Send GME to blue 3. Now that call contract is loaded up in Active Trader and I can quickly buy and sell. Now it's worth noting that generally you want to buy a contract in between the bid and the ask to get a better entry. You don't want to use this on contracts with big spreads where you will lose a lot of money by buying the ask and selling the bid. I would only do this to get in and out as quickly as possible, knowing my profit will cover the slippage. So more recently, I finally decided to add a second monitor that's oriented vertically because my desk just isn't big enough otherwise. I have this loaded up with 8 charts for companies I have positions in or am otherwise keeping my eye on. And then below that is my monitor tab with my open positions. It's a pretty red day for these swing trades, so don't judge. But I used to have to flip through charts one at a time, then switch to the trade tab and then the monitor tab, and then back to the charts. So I like this layout much, much better. So that's how my ThinkOrSwim platform is set up, and hopefully this gave you some ideas on how to better configure it for your needs. If you have any other questions about ThinkOrSwim or want to see me do a video on anything in particular with trading, let me know in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them, and I'll do my best to make any videos that you guys want to see. If you would do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button on this video, it'll really help this channel out. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.